even though he condemned that, he also was like, it says he was like busy partying with Elton John at the time, some shit. So he wasn't like. There's all this like.
So he's like at a party, and then the media's asking, and he goes, "It's very sad," and then he goes back to Elton.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on with it.
Hold me closer, tiny dance.
Just going nuts. He's like, he just.
How much do you guys know about what's happening in France right now? Like literally
I do.
right now.
Not that much. I just saw a glimpse.
I just heard Joe talk about
A
it.
bunch of lazy fucks don't want to work anymore, I'll tell you that.
God.
That's what they say about the French. They don't want to
Quote
work.
me.
I saw videos, and it looks like the biggest riot that I have ever seen.
It's even spilling into neighboring countries.
I thought it went beyond riot now, and there's like actual resistance groups in like France that are organized and fighting the police and shit.
It's actually bigger than I've ever seen it.
I've seen footage of not just riots, but now like people grouping and attacking police vehicles.
Yeah.
They've actually successfully burned down a lot of like buildings too. Like,
But then,
like
so the thing that I thought was crazy is I think the last thing I saw is that they were taking over a jail, and they wanted to release all the criminals.
Oh, that's good. That's probably where they should
yeah,
start.
holy shit, I didn't know that.
And then like,
There was an Algerian guy who like got taken out by a cop.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
Oh, I
It's
see.
like a 7.
That's like the whole thing.
so it's like George Floyd style, like something happened.
That's what set it off. There's
Exactly.
there's a 17-year-old kid named Nail, Algerian delivery driver. He was pulled over for like violating some traffic law. He was like driving the bike lane or something like that you should just get a ticket for. He gets pulled over, and he tried to basically dodge the cops. So you know when you're like not pulling over, at least out here, that's already a signal for cops to think something else might be going on.
If you speed off.
Exactly.
But if you just continue at a slow speed, then the cops kind of like know that you're just finding a safer place, and they'll communicate like,
Yeah.
pull over here. Oh no, pull over at the next exit or whatever.
Right. So it kind of freaked them out that this kid, didn't stop.
Were they in a car?
What's that?
Were they in a car?
The cops, yeah.
But then the kid was on a bicycle.
No.
No,
Kid's in a car.
he's in a car.
Oh.
He's in a Mercedes. He's
Yeah,
like
nice car.
Yeah, nice car. So then, and plus they said they felt weird that he had like Polish plates or some shit. But he ends up getting away from them briefly, but he gets stuck in traffic. So when the cops catch up to him, he can't go anywhere. The two cops get up to his at the driver's side door. They're right up to him, like point blank. At one point, an officer puts a gun like literally into the window, and like says something. I think he might have threatened him and said something like, "I'm gonna put a bullet in your head" or some shit like that.
Oh shit.
And
But in French, so it sounded really pleasant. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Nice.
So obviously the kid gets scared and he floors it, and then that
Crashes?
cop just shoots
unloads.
shoots him point blank in the chest and kills him. But obviously that's not to any protocol they're supposed to follow, like for sure.
Yeah.
But then initially they tried to file it as like, oh, the car that was moving, the officer was in direct danger of being hit by it or something. But video comes out that the officer's actually at the window like a drive-through guy.
Yeah.
So he's not
He's not
actually
in
in the
danger.
path.
He was about to give him a happy meal,
Yeah.
but he gave him a sad meal.
A very sad meal, yeah. So the French president condemns the action completely.
Macron.
Yeah, Macron.
Mr. Macaroons.
And just a whole lot of shit just comes right after that. Even though he condemned that, he also was like, it says he was like busy partying with Elton John at the time, some shit. So he wasn't like, there's all this like.
So he's like at a party, and then the media's asking, and he goes, "It's very sad," and then he goes back to Elton.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on with it.
closer, tiny dance.
Just going nuts. He's like, he just.
Yeah, but I guess
Hey,
like,
this is my favorite fucking song. Okay.
Do they have like similar, like police, like white-black relations?
Yes, in a way they do. So one of the things that it's highlighting here is that Algerians, like among other types of minorities in France, do experience disproportionate amounts of like suspicions, like the way that we do out here.
Yeah, but I heard that it's like more so the fresh new immigrants rather than like the local people.
Well, I heard that's who mostly is upset with this as well. Is the immigrant community that's heavily integrated with the French population. Because this is seen as a huge injustice, which I agree with. So I'm like, well.
So is that the ones that were out protesting, the immigrant community?
That's what I've heard through media. I don't know what's true or not.
I think also, like a friend of mine who's from Paris actually said too that the general, at least where he's from, because he's from like the city, and he said the general attitude really is against this. Like they're not, their sentiment is not like half and half the way it might be for like Republican Dem. You know, like they just generally are more liberal. I think.
Do they just all hate cops or hate like this type of like excessive use of force or like?
They hate injustice, Bart.
Yeah, I think it's like corruption in the establishment, and I mean generally like there's not a lot of people that are on the side of the cop, really, because obviously what he did is wrong. Like you're not even allowed at all to shoot a driver who's driving away from you. It's just
like the McDonald's kid we covered here.
Yeah.
Like they just fucking blow him away because the cops are pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like even with that, even though the cop was like, no, I thought that was the guy from the other day that had run away from us, he ended up being right. It kind of was that guy, I think. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you're still not allowed to just shoot like that. Even in a country like France, where this is even less common that this type of thing can happen.
You're still not Judge Dredd, bro.
Yeah, right. And especially a 17-year-old kid. I don't even think he was armed or anything. Like he just got freaked out. Obviously, that's also I guess it's. You can't blame him for being freaked out because normally
you have a gun face.
You're not supposed to point the gun at a.
And you're gonna say I'm gonna fucking shoot you?
Dude,
that's allegedly what he said.
I got pulled over. I was just about the same age. I was 19 years old. I was driving in Escondido, California. I get pulled over by a cop, and I don't know where the fuck to pull over because I remember my dad bitching my entire life. He's like, "Why the fuck can't people just pull over into the shopping center or something? They gotta pull over the side of the road. Now all these looky-loos are fucking looking at this shit and backing up traffic." So I'm like, I don't want to be a looky-loo asshole and make my dad pissed. So I just kept driving until I was gonna get to a shopping center. But I was at a certain stretch in Escondido where there's no shopping center for a while or nowhere to really pull over unless I was gonna be obstructing traffic. So I waited, and by the time I pulled over to the shopping center, the cop is so fucking pissed at me that he's like unsnapping his gun shit and like drawing his weapon on me and shit. And then I was just putting my hands out the window and I was like, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I didn't want to be an asshole with looky-loos. And then he's like, looky-loos. Yeah, and he's like, because I was so scared. I was just saying my internal dialogue, right? Yeah. And then he's like, for all I know, you're the River City Killer. And I was like, I don't even know what that is.
He's like, I don't know what looky-loos are.
Yeah, what's the River City Killer? But no, he was like, drawing his weapon and shit. But the same age, same fear. I've never been pulled over by a cop before.
You're freaking the fuck out.
Freaking the fuck out.
He thinks he's in a high-speed chase.
I could have just as easily have hit the gas as I did, pull over and weirdly.
And you're staying the same miles per hour throughout, so it's not like you're trying to completely out.
Not running.
Yeah, you're not running. No.
In the cop's mind, he might be thinking he's having a high-speed chase with you.
Exactly. Yeah. But I remember him unsnapping the fucking thing, taking his weapon out. I was like, Jesus.
And that's what sucks too, is like we learned, at least a lot of us did, we learned how to behave when you're dealing with cops to keep them from freaking out. Yeah. Like, it's not a thing that's widely taught everywhere, but I learned it growing up.
No sudden moves.
Yeah, just don't try them because you might get a fucking bad cop.
They're people too.
Yeah.
And not many of them are like former crazy ass Navy SEAls. They're just regular people that just wear a uniform too.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. But in this case, it is that thing with no matter what comes out from here, if there's a guy I'm sure that's working tirelessly to find this kid's criminal record or some shit. Everybody's trying to scramble to like
make the narrative work.
Sure, of course. No matter what happens from here, we're gonna get a bunch of new info from the time this video comes out. Yeah. They already know that this was against protocol, so there's really nothing you can say about that part.
So most of the protesting is that it's not from the. Because recently, you know how they just had those riots because they don't want to work more. Yeah. Like they were gonna raise the retirement age, and the people were kicking off hard. So that probably blended with this, because that means it's been constant protest.
Well, the French just go ham, dude. Like if they feel like there's injustice, they actually will do something about it, which I find admirable.
You can't respect that, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But now it's getting beyond just protest, though. Like I'm
sure this like took the tension and brought it to the final point where it all just the cauldron exploded, and everybody, for whatever reason they have against the government, is now expressing that shit. Wow. And whatever building is burning, the sentiment individually for each person is part of that fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they're the ones that killed all their royals too. I feel like the culture is just built on like, I'm gonna just keep killing my leaders.
French Revolutions is no joke,
Right?
man.
Dude.
Yeah.
We only show the French just to try to keep them down as much as we can.
They'll kill their own, dude.
We know they're fucking.
will.
They're gonna do whatever they need to do.
They'll kill their own.
They'll be like, we don't need other wars because we'll just kill our own leaders. And
You
then
think they're self-hating a little bit?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
I feel like they keep their leaders in check because they fucking kill them, right? And then the next ones are like, all right, I gotta be a good guy.
Yep.
Jeez.
Maybe that's a good system.